Angeline Tadaweo hosts The Block.
Afrobeats to jazz, hip-hop to R&B, calypso, Kez the Band, Michelle Montano, Bob Marley, Bounty Killer. So we really give all these artists a chance to shine, and the key is in the programming, in making it make sense, and making sure that the music is fluid, a fluid experience.
The Block with Angeline Tadaweo. Available now on CBC Listen.
You know the feeling of finding a really good podcast? Or the feeling of someone always being there, like your favorite radio show? Stream CBC Podcasts, CBC Music, and CBC Radio anytime, anywhere. Download the CBC Listen app.
This is CBC News. Good afternoon, I'm Rosanna Hempel in Winnipeg. At 12 o'clock, it's 13 degrees in Winnipeg. Sun and cloud today with 30% chance of showers and risk of a thunderstorm later on this afternoon. A former Manitoba PC cabinet minister is buying the Winnipeg Sun. A group led by Kevin Klein will assume ownership in June. The CBC's Bartley Kivas reports.
The Post Media newspaper chain announced this morning it has sold the Winnipeg Sun, along with two smaller papers, the Graphic Leader in Portage La Prairie and the Kenora Miner and News. The new owner is the Klein Group. It's led by Kevin Klein, the former city councillor and former PC MLA in Kirkville Park. Klein has served as the Sun's publisher in the past. He's been writing columns for the paper in recent months. The Sun was founded in 1980 as an independent newspaper. It was bought by Quebecor 3 years later and then incorporated into the Sun newspaper chain in 1999. Post Media acquired the Sun chain in 2015. The Klein Group takes over the Winnipeg Sun on June 1st. Bartley Kivas, CBC News, Winnipeg.
The new head coach for the Winnipeg Jets says he wants to build on what was begun by his former boss, Rick Bowness. The Jets announced on Friday Scott Arniel will replace Bowness as head coach. Arniel says he has deep roots in Winnipeg and is dedicated to the Jets.
My journey, it's come full circle. Going back to 1981 when I was an 18-year-old kid, looking to pursue my NHL dream as a hockey player. A lot of firsts have happened here. Like I said, I met my wife here. My kids were raised here.
Arniel says in the past 2 years, there has been a major shift in the culture at the Jets organization. He says he wants to build on that foundation to improve the team and make it a Stanley Cup contender. Winnipeggers will be hearing a lot of jackhammers as the city says summer road construction is officially underway. More than $138 million has been budgeted for improvements to local and regional streets and for active transportation routes. Among streets to see repairs are Inkster between Shepherd and Main, Abanuji-Meekina between St. Anne's Road and River Road, various segments of Grant and Taylor, McGregor at Partridge and Dugald at Plessy Road. Top officials in France, Italy, and Ireland, among others, are denouncing an Israeli strike that killed at least 45 people in Gaza. They say the bombardment in Rafah is a direct breach of last week's ruling by the International Court of Justice, ordering Israel to halt its operations there. Government spokesperson Avi Hyman says the attack targeted Hamas militants.
According to initial reports, these are initial reports, a fire broke out after the attack, which appears to have taken civilian lives. Civilian casualties are desperately sad, but this is the war Hamas wanted and started.
Thousands of Palestinians were sheltering in the area at the time of the attack. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu admits the strike went tragically wrong and is promising an investigation. The University of Toronto says it's seeking an expedited injunction order from the Ontario Superior Court of Justice. The school's deadline for the pro-Palestinian protesters to clear their encampment or face suspension or expulsion has passed. The demonstrators say they aren't going anywhere. Erin Mackey is a spokesperson for the group.
They're trying to use the courts to compel the police to come here, which again we find truly quite appalling that, they're doing all these things instead of meeting with their students and committing to divesting.
Another pro-Palestinian encampment, this one in Montreal, has been told by a judge it has to stop blocking access to buildings. Jayla Bernstein reports.
It's not in order to fully dismantle the encampment, but pro-Palestinian campers at the Université du Québec à Montréal will have to clear a 2-meter space around university buildings, stop blocking doors and windows, and remove cardboard blocking security cameras. The Quebec Superior Court judge released that decision this morning. Protesters have been camped out on the university's campus in downtown Montreal for 2 weeks. They want the university to cut ties with Israeli institutions. The administration says it has no investments in weapons manufacturing and no agreements with Israeli universities. Over at McGill University, pro-Palestinian campers appear to have settled in for the long haul. An injunction request for that encampment won't be back in court until July. Jayla Bernstein, CBC News, Montreal.
Police in Ontario's Peel region say they have recovered hundreds of stolen vehicles as a result of a months-long investigation. The combined worth is around $33 million. 16 people have been arrested and charged, and 10 others are still wanted. Peel Police Chief Nishan Duriyappa says more charges are coming.
Let me be clear. We are laser focused on stopping those responsible and for holding them accountable.
Some of the suspects are as young as 16 years old. Police say criminals used family members to help ship stolen cars to the United Arab Emirates and Oman through the port of Montreal. Canada's Competition Bureau wants to ask Canadians about domestic air passenger service. In a news release, the Competition Bureau says it wants to consult Canadians as it prepares to launch a market study of competition. It also says domestic airfare in Canada appears to be relatively high, and that Canadians have filed more complaints about air travel services in recent years. The Bureau will be seeking feedback by no later than June 17th. That is the CBC News from Winnipeg. Your next local CBC News is at 12:30.
Hello, my friends. Happy Monday. Welcome to Radio Noon for this last Monday in May. Where is this year going? Now, I don't know about you, but I find cloudy, rainy days a real energy killer. Somehow the weather makes it tougher to get going and accomplish stuff or head out to exercise. Do you feel the same? Or have you found a way to will yourself forward? We're talking motivation this Monday on our call-in. Join us with your tips and tricks. Commiserate with me about how hard it is to sometimes shake off those cobwebs. 204-788-3797 to leave a message now, or join us at 12:30 for the live lines. Radio Noon begins us today with a major highway in Manitoba in desperate need of facilities. Now, the province has taken steps, but do travelers to and from northern Manitoba deserve more? New washrooms. Yes, that's what we're talking about today. New washrooms on Highway 6 are drawing a little bit of relief and also criticism from northerners. Last week, the province announced new washroom facilities at Devil's Lake and near William Lake on Highway 6. They'll give travelers a place to go on the road that would otherwise have no bathrooms. Along a 500-kilometer stretch of highway, no bathrooms. Volker Beckman is a member of the Safer Highway 6 Citizen Action Group. That group's been advocating for improvement for at least 2 years now. He spoke with CBC's New Thompson reporter, Jenna Dulwich.
Ponton, which is a critical stop along Highway 6, burned down about 4.5 years ago, which a lot of people used to use for washroom and convenience store and gas and so on, is not there anymore. So it's a long drive from Thompson to Grand Rapids, the first place where people stop for gas or pee break, and there's nothing along the highway. It's bad enough when you have to go in the side of the bush. In the summertime, it's a little more difficult when there's snowbanks. You can't do it in the wintertime. So for the benefit of older people and health's sake, or children, whatever, you certainly need to have some kind of restroom facilities, and that's what one of the things we've been lobbying for quite a while.
So the government recently announced they put in washrooms at Devil's Lake rest stop area and Williams rest stop.
Right, there's a truck stop there, I understand. Now, I haven't been there myself to see them, and I texted Eric Redhead, who's our MLA, and thanked him for that. That's good to see. But the picture that I saw when I looked there, and it was just a photograph on his Facebook page, it looked like they were kind of porta potties with a little building in which was a cage, I'm guessing, with wiring in it to protect maybe litter or garbage containers. So if that's all that's going to happen, I would be a little disappointed. For the benefit of tourism, I mean, we want to have some facilities that are acceptable for international visitors, because a lot of fisher people and other individuals in the fall drive to Thompson on their way to Churchill in the summertime for beluga whales, and in the fall and early winter when it's polar bear season. So, I mean, Highway 6 is the primary transportation corridor in northern Manitoba, and needs a quality of care and convenience and acceptable standards that we should be able to accommodate in our province. When we did our presentation to the government 2 years ago, we had a petition of 6,300 names saying we want safer highways to reduce accidents and deaths in northern Manitoba, and we listed a number of recommendations that there were, and we had letters of support at the same time from chambers of commerce, from First Nations chiefs, from mayors in northern Manitoba, and even some sport groups, like a female basketball coach says that when we go to Winnipeg with our girls on a tournament down south, and it's wintertime, and there's no place to park in the side of the bush because there's snowbanks there, it's disgusting in a way that women, have to use the bathroom on the side of the road. Sometimes there's not even enough shoulder to do that, and where do you go? So the safety aspect of this, the health aspect of it is really, really important, that there's suitable toilet facilities in this long distances when we go between Grand Rapids, Pond, and Pond to Thompson.
So I appreciate you haven't seen the washrooms in person yet, but you've seen photos. They are porta potties. I did see them. Right. Is that the outcome you were hoping for? No,
we were looking for something that's more permanent, because the thing with porta potties, we know in other places when vandalism come, they can knock them over. And then the question is, and then who cleans them properly? I mean, I have pictures of an outhouse at Pisu Falls that when my wife and I drove to Winnipeg about 2 years ago, was February, and we had to go to the bathroom. So we knew there was an outhouse at Pisu Falls, although it's not taken care of. And we went there. There's a male, it's disgusting to describe this. There's a male outhouse and a female outhouse. The male one, you can see the yellow urine stains in the snow because the men can pee outside. With the women, somebody had put down toilet paper on the seat to protect themselves. And of course, when you sit on it, it gets damp. And when you stand up, then it freezes. And when my wife went in there, she said, Volker, come and take a look at this. She wasn't going to sit down because this toilet paper had been frozen to the seat. So that was an outhouse at Pisu Falls, which is more of a summer campground space. Yeah. So those are the conditions I think will be replicated if there's only a porta potty here. It may, it may work in the summertime, but it certainly won't work in the wintertime. Now, hopefully you would think this is a temporary solution, and the province has a more permanent facility in place that they would design, because Devil's Lake is a recommended rest stop, and I know there's already somebody from Snow Lake who wants to provide a food services there, looking for a campground services there, and he's applied to the government for support, and he's waiting to get an answer. So there is possibilities to make it into a better facility if our MLA and the province, of whoever the minister responsible is, will work with some of the people in the north. It's a sensitive topic to discuss when you're talking about men and women having to pee and poop in the bush, for heaven's sakes. Do you know what I mean? It's pretty. How do you bring this up politely, whatever? But that's the fundamental issue that occurs, right?
That's Volker Beckman, a member of the Safer Highway 6 Citizens Action Group. It's been advocating for bathroom facilities along Highway 6 for at least 2 years now. Manitoba Transportation and Infrastructure Minister Lisa Naylor tells us that, porta potties are not the long-term solution. She says it's part of a pilot project launched just days before May Long weekend. It's intended to run until Thanksgiving weekend to give the province a sense of how much the stops are used by travelers. Heidi Cook is a traveler that's glad to see this even temporary solution. She's chief of Mississippiasic Cree Nation, and she says the new facility facilities will be appreciated.
First, I noticed the new signs on the highway for the rest stop, so I made sure to look, and I noticed there was 2 portable bathrooms that were at Devil's Lake, and I was happy to see them because I remember when there was bathrooms there before, and, you know, we would stop there. There's a picnic shelter and stuff, and it's a really busy rest stop in a long stretch with no stops. So people have been stopping there. People stop there all along, but if you need to use the bathroom, you kind of have to find a bush to hide in, and then there's a lot of litter. So I hope that the bathrooms here, you know, are able to be maintained and help clean up the area because it's a beautiful stop along the highway when you're traveling. So there's a couple of garbage bins there, but in some of the areas where it's a little bit more sheltered, you find a lot of Kleenex, toilet paper, stuff in the bushes. So it's just going to help make it a nicer place to stop and hopefully clean up some of that litter.
Heidi Cook is chief of Mississauga Cree Nation. She was speaking about porta potties placed at Devil's Lake and near William Lake on Highway 6. It's part of a pilot project the province is running until Thanksgiving weekend, trying to determine what's needed there for bathroom facilities. You can read more on this story on our website, cbc.ca/Manitoba. Anyone with feedback about the new facilities is encouraged to call 511.
You have lots of questions about your own life and this really complex world around you. I'm Sarocha Coelho. I'm the host of the new live call-in show, Just Asking. I take your questions about what's in the news or your finances, health, even your relationships, and then throw them to an expert. Just Asking. Let's figure it out together.
Just Asking with Sarocha Coelho. Live Saturday afternoon at 5 Eastern, 2 Pacific, and on CBC Listen.
And Just Asking today here on CBC Radio 1's Radio Noon, how do you get motivated? What are your tips for getting moving? Manitoba, all this rain, this cloud, it can really, kill your motivation. So what are your tips and tricks for getting moving? We'll open our live lines at 12:30. Hope you join our conversation. Still ahead as well, we're going to talk about best friends separated from the home they used to have and about a dog who's making a difference. But first, let's take a look at our weather forecast. We're sitting at 16 degrees right now in Brandon under those mainly cloudy skies. There is a chance of a shower and chance of showers again, cloudy this evening. So kind of that cloudy day all around. Becoming a mix of sun and cloud this afternoon in Winnipeg, a 30% chance of showers later this afternoon with a risk of a thunderstorm, and a 30% chance of showers early this evening. So again, more rain could be on the way. Taking a look around the province quickly, we have partly cloudy skies. Can I call that partly sunny in Barons River? I'm looking for sun. In Churchill, they're experiencing some light snow. Flin Flon, there's maybe some sunny breaks there, a mostly cloudy day. Sunshine's being reported at the Lynn Lake Airport. And at Winnipeg's Richardson Airport, they're reporting some sunny breaks as well. So hang in there. Some sunshine might be soon on its way to you. First responders in the Yukon have a new colleague. Thorin is a black lab retriever. He's the first mental health wellness service dog in the territory to work with first responders. He's trained to detect high levels of stress in staff there and provide emotional support. Allison Harper is the lead for the program that brought Thorin in. She introduced CBC's Virginie Ann to this furry team member.
So this is Thorn. He is a PADS dog. He's 2.5 years old. His name, so PADS will name all of their litters that they have, and so he's came from the Lord of the Rings. He is the Prince of the Dwarves, and let's say he very much owns up to the name.
What's his personality like?
He is, when they showed me a picture of him to say this is the dog, they said, what do you think about it when you see him? And I said, he kind of looks like a big goofball, but just this fun-loving dog, and that is very much what he is. He has this pounce like a fox when he plays with his toys, and he's tugging with the crews, but he is as well the most gentle, loving dog, and we've seen it in action of just he can understand and takes on people's stressors, and that's part of what his job is. And then he shakes it off when we go for our long hour to 2 hour long off-leash walks every day, and he comes back every day and just, let's do it again. I love my job. So
what is his job exactly?
So his job is going to be working preventively with first responders in the Yukon. He's been trained to help detect stress and high levels of cortisol in first responders, and then he's been trained to be able to help bring people from a heightened state down to a lower state. And a lot of it is preventative work, so he'll be station visits, whether it's with our allied agencies or EMS, and then he's as well been trained to be a part of any critical incident stress debriefs. He's just purely for the staff. Yeah, and we've as well gone to the hospital. He's been very well accepted at the hospital, and we'll see him with staff at the hospital, and we've been asked on occasion as well to go in and see some of the patients, which we of course have, but yeah, he's mainly based for just the staff. So this has been a pretty long process. It's been just over 3 years ago I put in a proposal. I knew that there was a need to help improve our psychological wellness and preventative for our mental health of first responders. I got the phone call in February this year saying that we think we found a dog for you, and I flew down to Vancouver in March and spent a week and a half down there getting used to Thorn and seeing if we bonded, and then he came out for his team training in April for 10 days, and we passed all of our exams that we had to do, and he's been integrating very well.
You used to have dogs on your own that unfortunately passed away, so walk me through, what was it like to receive that phone call that your process was accepted, that you were going to have a companion with you on the job?
You know what, I think it was being able to take what was really sad for us in 2023 and then have this amazing dog Thorn to come in, and it kind of went full circle for us. I get to see the joy that he brings to everybody here and other first responders so far, and it just warms my heart and makes me feel quite complete in my job so far.
Were you anxious at all that perhaps it was not going to be a good fit?
Yes, yeah. I wasn't sure if Thorn was going to be the one or not, and it was, I think, more pressure on myself to make sure that Thorn and I were a good team, and that Thorn and I, are doing what we set out the program to do. So yeah, it's pressure, but it's good pressure because we know what it's for.
My name is Gerard Din, and I'm the Chief of Yukon Emergency Medical Services.
What did you think when you heard about, okay, let's try to get a dog for our team?
It was different and innovative. Certainly was excited to see what it was going to bring us. There's been a lot of hard work, like our commander, Ali Harper, has taken a lot of leadership to make this happen, and it's taken 3 years. PADS is well recognized across Canada as providing these types of service dogs, and they do make a difference in wellness. EMS responders and responders are exposed to psychological injury every day, and many members of our team have it. And this dog plays a role, not just in helping treat, but help prevent psychological injury and bring resilience to the team. So we're really excited and to get supported by PADS, so we look forward.
How long have you been working with EMS?
I've been in EMS for 34 years.
In 35 years, how have you noticed the conversation around mental health change when it comes to EMS workers?
It has changed 180 degrees. Certainly when I entered into EMS, this was not a discussion. And it's not because people didn't care. I don't think people understood. People didn't understand what injuries could occur, and we didn't recognize it. There was good people, and slowly over time, some of these injuries didn't expose themselves until years later, and people got smarter. And things changed and have changed for the better.
So will we see you hugging and cuddling with the dog?
Oh, you bet. We're so excited. The dog comes to work every day. The dog has one of our patches. When Ali comes to a meeting, the dog comes as well. So and we're going to share this dog with our partners in Fire and the RCMP. So it's great for everybody.
That was Gerard Din speaking. As well, you heard from Commander Allison Harper. They're both with Yukon Medical Emergency Services. Do we have therapy dogs, support dogs like that in our emergency services? Let us know. 204-788-3797. That's the message line. You can reach us anytime. They were speaking with CBC's Virginie Ann about Thorin, the Yukon's new support dog for EMS.
My name is John Cullen, and I want to tell you a story. It's a story about a scandal, broken relationships, gossip, rumors, money, corporate rivalry, and curling. It's the story of Broomgate, how a single broom, yes, a broom, turned friends into foes and almost killed the 500-year-old sport of curling.
It was a year I'd like to forget.
Broomgate, available now wherever you get your podcasts.
And apparently quite funny. There's a lot of Manitobans involved in that as well, so give it a listen when you get a chance. Speaking of comedy, how about a little laughter to get our days going, or keep them going as we're in the middle of the day? Recorded for CBC's Laugh Out Loud, here's Don Kelly.
I am First Nations. I actually live in Ottawa. Thank you. That is. I'm not going to argue. That was the right response. People in Ottawa respond exactly the same way, so don't worry. But what I find is a government town, and of course there's me living in Ottawa because I don't live on my reserve. I'm what the government calls an off-reserve Indian. And I hate that term. I much prefer free range. Locally grown and organic. So full disclosure, I am status Indian, treaty Indian, but I'm not full-blooded. My father's Ojibwe, but Mom had no native blood. She's Swedish. So she's not just white, she's downright pale, okay? And it's weird. It's weird when you're like half native, half white. It does weird things to my mind, like my white side often tries to exploit my native side. It's true. I'll give you a real-life example. I'll like walk into a bank at lunch hour. Worst time to go to a bank. Everyone's there. There's a huge lineup, a huge mob of people. The teller comes out and goes, "Okay, so who was here first?" And I'm like, well, technically...
That is funny. That's comic Don Kelly, recorded at the Yukon Arts Centre for CBC's Laugh Out Loud. You can hear Laugh Out Loud wherever you get your podcasts. Right now, let's hear some music from Kaylee Cardinal. This next song landed a Western Canadian Music Award nomination for Songwriters of the Year. It's actually a collaboration between Kaylee Cardinal and Winnipeg's Brothers Landreth. It's called Light of the Moon.
Wasn't always easy, and I know it. Stuck between the coming and the going. No matter how bad I wanted you to stay, only half of your heart was ever far away. Songs pouring out from the kitchen. Your laughter ringing, guitars in the hallway, right where you left them. These are the things that I am missing. When the sun goes down, there's still the light of the moon, and I will remember you. Well, I remember you in the bright lights, singing songs into the late night. But we all start to fade, turn to dust. Time catches up with the best of us. When the sun goes down, there's still the light of the moon, and I will remember. If you lived 1,000 years, you'd still be gone too soon, and I will remember you. There's a silence where there was none. Rest easy now, your work is done. The ones that will follow, they bring you with them. We can hear just listen. When the sun goes down, there's still the light of the moon, and I will remember you. If you lived 1,000 years, you'd still be gone too soon, and I will remember you. When the sun goes down, there's still the light of the moon, and I will remember you.
That was Light of the Moon by Kaylee Cardinal and Winnipeg's Brothers Landreth. What a lovely tune. Still ahead on Radio Noon, we want to hear from you. It is Monday. The sun is peeking out on some places, but other places are still under showers and cloud. I don't know about you, but I find that can be a real energy killer. Somehow it just makes it tougher to get going and accomplish stuff or want to head out and exercise. We want to hear your tips and tricks for getting motivated to accomplish a task or to get some exercise. We've got a real mover and shaker joining us as a special guest after 12:30. She started a group called Peg City Steppers, and she knows what it's like to struggle with motivation. So join our call-in. The phone lines are open, 780-0893, 204-780-0893. Right now, it's 12:30.
This is CBC News. Good afternoon. I'm Rosanna Hempel in Winnipeg. At 12:30, it's 15 degrees in Winnipeg. Sun and cloud today with 30% chance of showers and risk of a thunderstorm later on this afternoon. A former Manitoba PC cabinet minister is buying the Winnipeg Sun. A group led by Kevin Klein will assume ownership in June. The CBC's Bartley Kivas reports.
The Post Media newspaper chain announced this morning it has sold the Winnipeg Sun, along with two smaller papers, the Graphic Leader in Portage La Prairie and the Kenora Miner in News. The new owner is the Klein Group. It's led by Kevin Klein, the former city councillor and former PC MLA in Kirkfield Park. Klein has served as the Sun's publisher in the past. He's been writing columns for the paper in recent months. The Sun was founded in 1980 as an independent newspaper. It was bought by Quebecor 3 years later and then incorporated into the Sun newspaper chain in 1999. Post Media acquired the Sun chain in 2015. The Klein Group takes over the Winnipeg Sun on June 1st. Bartley Kivas, CBC News, Winnipeg.
A 16-year-old girl is facing charges for allegedly assaulting two Winnipeg police officers. Police say two girls assaulted and robbed a woman in the 800 block of Main Street Sunday night. Two suspects were located and taken into custody. Police say one of the girls became combative, headbutting and kicking the arresting officers. Winnipeggers will be hearing a lot of jackhammers as the city says summer road construction is officially underway. More than $138 million has been budgeted for improvements to local and regional streets and for active transportation routes. Among streets to see repairs are Inkster between Shepherd and Main, Abanuji-Meekina between St. Anne's Road and River Road, various segments of Grant and Taylor, McGregor at Partridge, and Dugald at Plessy Road. The Winnipeg Jets' new head coach says his career has come full circle. Scott Arniel started his NHL career with the Winnipeg Jets in 1981, and now he's taking over the top coaching job from Rick Bowness. He helped lead the team to 52 wins this year. Arniel says he wants to build on the foundation laid 2 years ago when Bowness was head coach.
We've had to change the culture. We had to work on the leadership. We had to raise the standards here with our hockey club, and I got to give an awful lot of credit to obviously the coaches, but also to the players. We have made some changes, management as well. What we did this year was special.
Arniel says he's learned a lot over the years. On several occasions, he filled in for Bowness as head coach. Arniel says he wants the Jets to become an elite team that makes it beyond the first round of the Stanley Cup playoffs. That is the CBC News from Winnipeg. Your next local CBC News is at 1:30.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
I am now covering weather for you because Riley's got the week off, so, it'll be brief. We've got a chance of showers in Winnipeg today. We've got a mix of sun and cloud over us, the risk of a thunderstorm this afternoon even. We've got a strong wind, northwest, 20 to 40, picking up through the afternoon. Our high today in Winnipeg will be 15 degrees. Cloudy, clearing tomorrow, getting up to a high of 17 degrees. Again, a bit of a wind, but only north 20, becoming even lighter in the afternoon. So it'll make it feel like a nice warm day for us. In Brandon today, expect a mix of sun and cloud, 30% chance of showers and a risk of a thunderstorm. The wind, again, is northwest this time instead of just north, 20 kilometers an hour, then gusts to 40 early this afternoon. So it could feel a bit breezy out there due to that. High of 16 degrees in Brandon today. A 60% chance of showers this evening, so an even stronger risk of getting some scattered showers and a risk of a thunderstorm in Brandon tonight as well. That north wind will die down this evening, becoming late. And the low tonight in Brandon will be 5 degrees. So because of that cloud and the 5 degrees, you should be fine and no risk of frost. A mix of sun and cloud tomorrow in Brandon, clearing around noon, leaving you with a sunny day. And look at Wednesday's forecast, 22 degrees for Brandon. Now, there is a risk of frost tonight in Thompson, so cover any tender plants that you have outside. It's cloudy today with a 60% chance of showers and then a mix of sun and cloud. Right now, the Thompson Airport is reporting mostly cloudy conditions. A north wind, 20, seems to be the same around the province. A high today in Thompson of 11 degrees. Again, that wind could gust to 40 kilometers an hour. Sunshine for your day tomorrow up north, high of 15 degrees. And Wednesday looks lovely as well, a high of 20. Wednesday in Winnipeg, we could see a high of 24 degrees. Wow, that'll feel really nice and warm. Don't forget your sunscreen. Now, it's time for our call-in conversation. This is one I've been quite excited about because I'm a fan of the group Peg City Steppers. You may see their posts on social media from time to time. It's all about getting motivated and making friends and getting out there, getting moving. So that is the focus of our calling conversation today. The phone lines are now open, 204-780-0893. We're asking, what do you do to get motivated? Do you have tips or tricks on tackling something that's a little bit tough to get motivated to tackle, or starting to exercise, for example? Our guest today found that physical movement, just getting up and getting walking, really can make a difference in life. Shanna Goodridge works in information security, but she's developed another passion into her life and into quite the thing. She started Peg City Steppers. Shanna, thanks for joining us today on Zoom.
Thank you so much for having me, Janet.
It's wonderful to have you here. And you've brought a friend, because Peg City Steppers is all about making friends as well. Who's with you today?
So I have with me Natalia Petrikin. She's one of the run leaders here at Peg City Steppers. I'll let her introduce herself.
Hi, Natalia.
Hi, how are you?
I'm great.
So like Shanna said, I'm a run leader with Peg City Steppers. But outside of that, I work as a project manager. I'm also a mother of 2 boys, a teen and a toddler. And yeah, that's me in a nutshell.
If you would like to talk to these 2 women who are not fitness professionals, but they know what it's like to be incredibly busy and to still get up and get going, they'd love to hear your tips for how you stay motivated. Give us a call, 204-780-0893. If you need a toll-free number, 1-800-268-5483. Now, let's start with you, Shanna. You seem like a powerhouse, like someone who no one could ever put down or could never feel, oh, I can't move. And I just say that from following your social media posts, Peg City Steppers. I always see you out there with a big smile on your face. But does dreary weather ever impact your energy level?
Well, first, let me say thank you so much for that compliment. Some days you don't always feel as powerful or strong, but I appreciate that. Well, for me, most definitely, the weather plays a very important part in how your day feels. And being someone who is originally from the Caribbean, where the weather is always sunny, always nice, I love to see the sun. I love to feel the warmth of it on my skin. So some days if it's cold or gray like how it is today, that can impact the way you feel or the motivation that you have to go outside and get active. But one thing I have found is that whenever I'm feeling low in spirits or, just wanting that boost, the moment I go outside, go for a quick 30-minute walk or a run and come back, I always feel an instant sense of gratification, an instant boost in my energy levels, and just that sense of clarity.
Have you done it enough now that it's automatic? Or are there still days that you have to convince yourself to go?
There's still days I have to convince myself, especially this year. Like I was saying to one of my friends earlier, like the winter has been not too bad this year, compared to the coldness, the temperatures. But I find that just managing life and everything that you have to manage, it's not always like get up and go. Sometimes you have to tell yourself, you know what? I need to do this for myself today. I need to put everything else on pause for a second and just go out and do this for me.
Do this for me. Natalia, I'm going to ask you a question in just a second, but I wanted to call out that number again because this really is just a chat between folks who feel the need to get moving and sometimes to give themselves a push. What do you do to give yourself that push? 204-780-0893. We want to hear from you, Manitoba. This is a way that we can extend our circle of friends. Natalia, what do you find about Peg City Steppers? Why did you get involved?
Okay, so for me, initially, I think it's on our website where Shanna mentioned that initially we started out just as a group of 3 friends, new to the city, new to the province, and we just wanted to get some movement in. One of the things as fearful of, moving here was becoming stagnant because like Shanna said, we're from the Caribbean and it's always warm. These days I'm using warm and not nice because I hear the complaints back in Jamaica of how hot it is, and I'm not grudgeful at all. But being used to that, one of the fear I had is that I would come here and just not want to be outside. So we kind of started this movement as friends, just being out, getting our movement in. But what I found is the community and the friendship that we were able to develop just amongst ourselves made it very easy now that the group is much bigger and we have more persons that are interested in being out. For me, it's really about the community. Like I know movement is important and it's great for like our mental and our emotional well-being, but the community of people that we call friends is also helpful, and that motivates me. That's one of my motivations to go, actually. Like, there are those days where you really don't want to go and there's a voice on one shoulder that says don't go and then the one on the other shoulder that says you need to go. But just a reminder of the people you're going to meet up with, the conversations you may have, is always a good motivation to get out there and keep moving.
You're both from the Caribbean. Is Peg City Steppers, I know it started as a group of friends, but I'm not from the Caribbean. Am I welcome? Would others be welcome to join you?
150%, of course. We do have quite a few persons from the Caribbean, but it's not limited or restricted to any particular group of persons. One of the things that we do boast about our group is that we're very open, very welcoming. I can tell anyone that you will not regret coming out to walk or run with us for even a half an hour. You will be back for sure. I don't think we've had anyone that came and have not been back because they were not welcomed. So
204-788, 204-780. That's the problem with this show. There's so many phone numbers. 0893. That's our call on like the frequency. If you're in the Winnipeg area, we're on 89.3. So you can remember the number that way. 204-780. 0893 is the number to call. Now, this is a provincial show, right? We're talking to people in northwestern Ontario as well, and anywhere, because we're on YouTube now, anybody could be watching. If they're not in the Winnipeg area and they're thinking, wow, I wish I had a group of friends to go out and walk with, what advice do you have, Shanna, for starting one? How do you do that?
Well, you know what? It starts with the intent. Like once you want to get moving, it doesn't have to be a big complicated things. Just find a friend, a neighbor, family member and get going. It will catch on because as Natalia mentioned, when we started, it was a group of three of us. For weeks and weeks, it was just the three of us, but we enjoyed what we were doing. We enjoyed each other's company. And over time, as we started to share with our other friends and post on social media, you realize that there were other persons out there that wanted to have that same type of engagement and accountability as well. So my advice would be just get started with even one other person. Start at a familiar park or even around your neighborhood, just going for simple short walks and keep encouraging others to join you. Before you know it, you will be starting your own walking group or running group. It's a proud moment for us when we look back to see that we have grown from 3 members to now we have a complement of 60 members and growing.
Wow. Jason joins us now. Jason's calling in. Hey, Jason, thanks for joining us on
Hello,
Radio Noon
Janet.
today.
How you doing today?
I'm doing fantastic now that you've called. How are you, Jason?
Right. And I'm fine. I was hearing about the exercise and self-motivation. One thing I use is walking and running on treadmills. It always helps too, good for the mind and the body and the soul too.
Oh, yeah? When do you use your treadmill?
Oh, I am using it at Shapes Fitness Centers about a day or twice a week or so.
And what do you like about it?
Treadmills. I heard a radio commercial on all of these KY58 with Kathy Kennedy doing one of them on Treadmill Express. It was a business on 685 Pembina Highway. It's now Fitness Experience. It's located on Pembina, right off Lilac Street between Grant and Taylor.
Okay. And so you started using one at a fitness center. And what do you like about it?
Oh, all the qualities too, the speed, the incline too, and your self-programmed workouts and manual workouts too. They're very useful.
Yeah, you like that because you can go up hills a lot easier than you can. We're in the prairies. Yes. There aren't a lot of hills.
No problem. I shouldn't worry. It's fun at least. I've been doing it for a long time.
What's it done for your sense of confidence, Jason?
Oh, Janet, I'd say that I'm really happy. I'm glad about myself and everybody else's too. I love all the treadmill users who do their parts, and they are all good. They are all good athletes too, and your own personal trainer is you, yourself.
Jason, you're an awesome, enthusiastic human. I'm so glad you called.
Thank you so much. Yourself a good day.
Yeah, you too, Jason. Thanks for calling Radio Noon. Do it again sometime. All right. Well, there you go, Natalia. You've got your next member. But again, if you can't get out, if the weather is too yucky, there is always the idea of a treadmill. Have you ever done that, run on a treadmill, like on a regular basis?
Not regularly, but I have. Like when I'm in the gym, I will do a run before I do my strength or my upper body or lower body workout. But I am not really a fan of running on the treadmill. It's actually my least favorite cardio machine. But I do recommend that if you're not able to go outside for whatever reason, it's definitely a great option because what we preach is keep it moving. And, we just want to keep it moving no matter what or how you can. So rather than saying that you are not able to go outside because it's cold or whatever the case may be, the treadmill is a great option. And like our caller just said, you get that incline because we don't have that luxury here in Manitoba.
One of the exercises, because that I've always enjoyed, and I'm a non-athlete. When I think about running, I think, oh, there's no way I can do it. I just have that voice that says no. That good voice, that bad voice you were talking about a little bit, one on each shoulder. Sometimes my you can't, don't even bother trying voice is so loud. Is dancing, if you find that fun, is that a good way to get moving?
It is a great way, especially if you enjoy doing it. It's definitely a great way. It's one of the things I wished we had more of here because in the Caribbean, again, especially when it's around carnival time, there are lots of soca aerobic sessions and dance dance hall type workout classes, which we don't have the privilege of here. But of course, it's 100% a good way to work out. It does get your entire body moving, so that's good.
And the thing, Shanna, another thing is a lot of people put up the barrier. And before I speak for other people, I should let them speak for themselves. 204-780-0893. Join our conversation. What is it that gets you going? What is it that keeps you from going to the gym or starting to walk or finding a way to move, no matter what your physical abilities? Let us know. We'd love to hear from you. 204-780-0893. Outside Winnipeg, you want to call toll free? 1-800-268-5483. How does it impact your mood and the way you feel and the way you handle the stresses of life, Shanna, when you are active?
For me, I find that when I'm active, I'm more engaged. I feel more clarity in my mind. I'm more friendly.
You're
more
ever
enjoyable
not
to be
friendly?
around.
What? I can't believe.
Trust me. When I'm not working, you can ask Natalia. I could be very cranky when I'm not able to move my body or just to get some sort of physical activity in. And I just wanted to touch back on a point that you started to make regarding sometimes you might feel intimidated to get started on your journey or even to just go to the gym. A lot of times we have these preconceived beliefs of, how we have to be in the best shape to run, or we have to look a sort of way to be considered a runner, or even just going into the gym to use the machines. You might feel like, I don't want someone to look at me the wrong way if I'm not using it the right way. But, we all have to start somewhere. And if we let that fear or that intimidation hold us back, then we'll never get started. So I think that's the first thing, to just leave all of those preconceived beliefs or fears behind and just get started. That's the only way that we'll continue to improve and to see those changes in our mood and just general well-being.
You're both busy women. You both have 2 kids. How do you find the time?
Natalie, do you want to go first?
I can. So you see, that's the thing. And I feel like Shanna mentioned it or started saying something along those lines earlier. It's the prioritization, right? So the time is never going to be just sitting there for you to grab it. There's never enough time to do all the things you have to do, never. But when you prioritize yourself and you figure out what works for you, it automatically falls into place. So there are weeks when we'll work out 4 days a week, and there are weeks when we'll do 2 days a week, and there are weeks when we don't get anything at all. The whole idea is not to get demotivated by that, but just pick up where you left off and continue, because there's never, ever going to be that moment in your life where you have all this time where you're going to be able to work out as much as you want to. So you just have to put yourself first. And I think when you get to that point, when you realize the benefits that it has on you, and then you can show up for everybody else, so not just yourself, but you're able to show up for the kids, you're able to show up for your husband, you're able to show up for your job. Like Shanna mentioned, we're females, and being cranky isn't like something that we have a choice in, I believe, as women. Like, it just happens sometimes, like you have no control. So once you get to that point that you realize...
I'm not cranky. What are you saying? But I do want to talk to you about something. You said you got to put yourself first. You know how many women don't put themselves first? Because they've got that list of other people they got to care for too. And you could have sick parents as well as kids that need you. Like, I mean, are we making this sound too simple?
It is not simple. And though I've just said it, it's something I struggle with daily. I want to say hourly sometimes, but then you always have to get back. What I find myself doing more lately is that I'm getting back to realizing I have to put myself first. So like, I wake up early every morning. On Saturdays, I want to sleep in. I always want to sleep in, but I remind myself, when I go out with Peck City Steppers on a Saturday morning, it makes my Saturday so much better. Like, going out is like, oh, I don't want to get up. But when I do go and I get back home, I have the best Saturday ever. I've always shared with Shanna, like, no one can get me upset on Saturdays anymore once I go out, Yeah, it's hard. It's hard as women, especially because, like you said, we put everybody first. But then if you have a constant reminder of the benefits you get when you put yourself first, then I think it makes it a little bit easier.
Shanna, what do you say to that? I mean, busy mom, 2 kids. Wow.
No, I
putting yourself
totally
first is
agree.
not easy.
It's not easy, but there's a quote that I always say. You cannot pour from an empty cup. So you have to fill your cup up first in order to pour into those other cups that you have to fill. So whether it be your job, your kids, the different roles that you play at work, in the home with your extended family, if you don't show up for yourself, then you're going to be, you don't have the strength. You don't have what it takes to pour into somebody else. And I know it's easier said than done, but I think the moment we recognize that we have to show up for ourselves first and pour into ourselves, then it makes it so much easier. And fitness doesn't have to be complicated. It's something as simple as, you go to the grocery store. If you park a little further and walk a longer distance to get to the grocery, or bike into work instead of driving, just making simple changes in your routine are ways that you can introduce fitness into your daily life.
Diane wants to join. Hang
sorry.
on there. No, Natalia, I just wanted to introduce Diane and let her join our conversation. Hey, Diane, thanks for calling Radio Noon.
Hi, how are you?
I'm doing great. What do you do to get motivated?
Well, I set short-term goals because as a first-time mom, I wanted to lose some weight and wanted to get back active because I'm a boot camp person. And I wanted always I have to keep moving. I heard Shanna mention something that when she's not moving, she kind of feels cranky. Same here. So after having my first child, I wanted to move. I wanted to do stuff. And, being winter and all of that, so I just started to walk. I started by walking first before I start doing anything like those long movements.
Okay, you start with walking, but how did you become a boot camp person?
Well, I'm from the Caribbean.
Yes. We got a theme going on here today, don't we? I love it.
Well, I'm from the Caribbean, and I tried everything. I tried weight loss. I tried all these different things that they had out there saying, pump irons, do all of that. But when you pump irons and you don't really shed, you get a lot of muscle. And I didn't want to be the muscle person. No offense to anyone out there who would pump iron, but that wasn't me. So I was introduced to this fitness group called FitRev at the time. And it was a boot camp setting that they do everything with your body weight. We didn't have any equipment or anything like that. It was all body weight. We had go around the field, we moved the tires, we did the ropes and all of those stuff. And I started seeing results and I loved it. So moving here and not being able to do that, because, of course, the weather that we have here, I was like, okay, how do I get back active? And after having my son, I'm like, okay, I really need to, because I started feeling, not myself and all of that.
I know there's a lot of mom and baby groups. Did any of those appeal to you?
I didn't know, and I heard
right, because you're a newcomer, too.
Yeah. So I did heard of some groups, but the thing is that when the groups are going on, at the time, I have my son to look about. I don't have anyone to keep my son. So I had to find things that so weekend was the better thing for me because at least my husband is at home with my son.
Right, for childcare.
So I can definitely go ahead and do what I have to do.
How important is it to you, now we got 3 moms on the line here, to model good fitness for your kids?
Well, yeah, because, all right, the thing is that when your kids see that you are out there and you're exercising, it also motivates them as well. Sorry, my son.
Oh, no, I love hearing him. What's his name?
Liam.
Liam, and how old is he?
He's 10 months.
Aw. Liam, our youngest Radio Noon call-in person. Caller. That's the word I'm looking for. Aw. So what's your advice, Diane, quickly, where the show's running out of time, but I want to hear from you as a new mom. What's been the best thing for you in connecting with just getting out and walking with your baby?
Well, I do walk around the apartment with him, and I run when I can with him, and it is fun. He enjoys it more than I do, of course. But it's really fun feeling, and it keeps my mind at ease because, being a new mom, sometimes it causes a lot of depression and those stuff. So when I'm able to do that, I'm more relaxed and more focused, and I can get a lot of stuff done.
And see other human beings, too. That's important. Cabin fever. We've run completely out of time. I have to say goodbye and thank you to all of you. Diane, thank you for calling. Shanna, thank you for being our guest, and Natalia as well. I hope you'll both join us on Radio Noon again.
Thanks for having us.
Oh, it was fun. Thanks for listening, everyone. Do call in and join the conversation like Diane did. It's always fun to have you here. We'll be chatting again tomorrow at noon. Have a great Monday.